Hey, everyone. Welcome to Bronco Wild Outdoors Extreme Bronco Sunday night stream. And guess who is back with us tonight?
Hello.
Hey, and I want to make sure, can everyone hear us? Benjamin Ford, hello. Zombie Salamander, still the coolest name on the internet. Overlanding for Fun, All Terrain Nation, hey, what's up? And like I said, where have you been, man? You've been gaming and all this other stuff?
Well, something we've been looking into.
Yeah, well, the gaming stuff, and then making sure we could keep you on this live
Well,
stream
yeah.
here. And
I was gaming because I wasn't on here.
all right. So Chris Brower said, thank you very much for that loud and clear. So we have a special guest here, and we are going to bring Mr. Tony Payne on with Trail Cartel. Now, a lot of you, I'm sure, have seen his videos, seen his content out there. So I figured, wouldn't it be great to have somebody that actually does some hardcore off-roading? I think it'd be cool to learn some of the aspects of that. And what do you say? Because we definitely need it.
Yeah.
We don't want to, go down a hill the wrong way, do we?
Yeah.
So
don't want to go downhill, make a slight turn, be sliding down sideways.
All right. So is everyone ready to meet Tony? If you haven't already, well, here we are. Tony, welcome to the show.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We'll start right off with, first of all, telling everyone, thank you very much for being here tonight. We skipped our intro because we are streaming on Facebook and Twitter, as well as YouTube right here from StreamYard. Terrence Moody, hey, what's going on? So we met, Gavin, we met Tony at Supercell East, right?
Yes.
And so we were going through there, and you had a not so friendly experience with only one person there. Mm-hmm. And the very next person we met standing in line for something was Tony. So you want to show something? Tony, I want you to see this here. Hold it up so you can see it.
Should be able to read it like
all right.
You see that?
I see that.
So you gave Gavin this sticker, and that meant the world to him. He's like, man, He's cool.
Nice.
And so I'll tell you a little story. The reason why when we met you there is up to that point, the Bronco action footage was really from you and I saw with you and Bubba out at King of Hammers.
Yeah, King of Hammers, yeah.
Why don't you tell us, so when you were able to go out there last year, what was the thing about the Bronco? I mean, you want to just tell us your first impression and how did it go?
Okay, so, rolling back when they became available to order, I jumped online just like everybody else and trying to get an order, and the order system went down, right, for a brief little bit of time. But I had a Raptor at the time, and I was logged into that portal. And so through the Raptor portal, I could still place an order. So when the whole system was down, I actually placed an order for a first edition. And kind of just was like, okay, cool. I got this thing. I've been kind of hearing about it. I've been wanting one, but kind of let it go out of my mind. And we go out to King of Hammers, and we're helping a racer in the pits, and we're working out there. When we roll up, I see this big old Bronco sign. I had no idea they were going to be there. And there was that cyber orange, I think it was a 2-door up on top of that pedestal. And I was like, oh my gosh, we got to go ride these things. And so, I was like a kid in a candy store. Every break we got, I was over there just bugging those Bronco Nation guys and the Fun Haver guys, trying to make sure that I got a ride and got to be around it. So, I was literally just like ate up with it from that point on.
The videos were cool, and I think a couple of the videos you were sitting in the back seat there, and so you could really see the bouncing around part of it. You're like, man, you guys are just ripping it through there. I forget your driver's name, but he seemed like one of the coolest guys you could meet.
Kurt Ledoux, man, he drove like a maniac, and that, as rough as the video looked, it was so smooth compared to some of the vehicles that I've been in out there going that fast. And I think with I'm a pretty good sized guy, and Sam was beside me in the back, and he's a pretty good sized guy. And of course, Bubba, we were all pretty big guys, and that thing was just soaking it up. We really weren't bottoming out too much, and we were flying.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could tell the speed on this thing. And one of the things that from the video you could tell, you could see the terrain that you were going over. And you were getting it, but you could also see it wasn't a very rough ride for considering the terrain. No. Or at least that, or your stabilization on your camera is pretty awesome.
It wasn't, but the ride was smooth, and we were flying. It was just eating it up. And I think that, man, as soon as I felt that, I was hooked. I was like, I've got to have it, because it was the perfect storm. We just built that big Jeep that I called Rooster, which was on 40s with a Hemi swap, and it had Curry F9s, big double throwdown from Evo. Built it to go to Baja, and we went down there and we went fast, and that was my first real experience at driving a Jeep at high speed. So I was addicted to the speed. And then I get in a stock Bronco and I experience that at a third of what I spent on that Jeep. And I was like, this is for me.
Yeah,
this is where I'm at.
Yeah, you even said that you were like, I forget how it went, but sort of like, man, this thing is stock and it feels like what I just spent all this money in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I think when you watch the videos, it's hard to tell exactly. I mean, we watched it and I don't know if Gavin, got it at first, but I was like, Gavin, trust me, they're going pretty fast and they're going through some stuff. And then I don't know if our driver from Townsend's here, Kyle, but Kyle drove us through the trails in Townsend at Supercell. And that was where you're able to experience, the sound, the bouncing, and it was wild and fair. Yeah. I knew then I called my wife. I was like, you're not going to believe it. It's every single thing they sold it to be. So,
yeah, the video doesn't do it justice. I mean, it just literally doesn't. If you haven't taken the opportunity to go ride on one of those ride alongs with a professional rider and experience how fast they're really going. I mean, even if you just said, hey, look, we're going 55 through this tight section or whatever, it doesn't mean anything unless you're sitting in there going, this is this much too fast for this trail in any other vehicle that I have,
Right. Right. Yeah, and before we go any further, hey, Bluford, Gavin, he'll say hi here in a couple of seconds. Nurse AJ, thank you for saying that. Yes, and by the way, if you're new to our channel, please hit that subscribe button. It's more important than ever, and also the bell icon. Gavin scrolling through the comments here, but and definitely like this this stream out. So, all right, Tony, here's what I want to know for us newbies, right? Off-roading newbies there, like myself. What the number one thing? All right, so I'm not a mud crawler, right? I'm not digging the mud. Hang on, dude. I'm not sinking the Bronco in the mud. So sand and rock and just trails. What are some of the biggest mistakes that people make, especially when they end up with a Bronco?
Well, I mean, I haven't had a chance to off-road that a lot, but I think there's still things that Jeeps do well, and there's things that Bronco are going to do well as well. So, I think you're going to spend a whole lot of money trying to get that IFS front suspension to the level that a Jeep, like those Jeeps on 40s that you see on YouTube crawling and eating that stuff up. Bronco's going to eventually get there. People are going to figure it out. They're going to get it built. But I think right off the bat, man, enjoy that thing for what it is. It is going to bomb through the sand. It's going to bomb through the whoop sections. It's going to eat trails up. It's going to be really stable and a lot of fun to drive. And I think I got this lesson from Brad Lovell because, I mean, he's the one that actually stopped in that one video in Moab. He said, man, don't mess with this thing. Just drive it and just enjoy it. He goes, I know I've seen your Jeep in the parking lot when we were driving out. Just leave it alone. And so far I've been able to do that because the part shortage has made it easy.
Yeah.
But that's a question for you.
All right, hold on, man. Let Tony finish.
Yeah, no, you're good. But to me, that's it. It's like enjoy for what it is right now. I mean, you can do a lot of cosmetic changes to it.
Yeah.
And I've got the new fiberglass for it, get the new hood for it, got Fox shocks for it and everything. But right now it's still stock, and I'm still just driving it around, trying to just love on it and figure it out before I go and do what I typically do to a vehicle, and that's make it good for one thing.
I got you. You want to ask Tony that?
Oh yeah. So Nurse AJ said, so do you guys recommend Bronco off rodeo for newbies? That's a question for y'all too, because I wasn't able to go.
Sorry, that's for Tony there. I know what my answer is.
100%. Yeah, I had a blast at that thing, and I think if you ever get to the point where you don't think you can learn something at an event like that, you're probably in a weird spot.
Yeah, you're probably in trouble, right?
You're probably in trouble. Yeah, because sometimes people ask a question when we were doing just recovery stuff. Somebody asked a question. I was like, I never thought about that.
A new angle. Yeah.
I think I know what I would do, but I want to see what this instructor says.
Yeah. Well, that was the one thing for me, I jokingly tell everybody my off-roading experience was pulling a Pinto through the woods in a 1977 F-150. So I am not exactly the but when I went down there, I learned a tremendous amount, and there were people there that wheel almost weekly, and they learned stuff.
Yeah.
And they were learning stuff, and they just thought it was just an awesome time. So I think the technique part. Oh, go ahead.
Did you go to Texas as well? Is that where you went?
I did. I went to Texas. Yeah,
that's the same one I went to. Yeah.
Did you stay at Horseshoe Bay, or did you stay outside of that?
No, I stayed at Horseshoe Bay.
Yeah, we stayed over in Granite Falls, and it was a pretty cool place over there. The one thing I'll tell you about people in Texas were awesome. We met like a lot of people from the airport all the way down, which, we landed in the storm. I posted some pictures, and I was like, there's nothing. When we landed in Dallas, and then a connection from Dallas to, what was it, Austin, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was the flight was so bumpy. I said, I'm ready for off rodeo. Like we're done. We're ready for it. Yeah, we'll bring that up in just a second. Couple more minutes maybe, but I can highly recommend it for a newbie because you learn so much there, right?
Yeah,
and it's a really cool place.
What did you think of the water crossing where they forded the water across that little lake they built? Wasn't that impressive?
Well, we didn't do. Let's see. There was videos of people going through some pretty deep water, right? And the video, I always see it looks like somebody was in like a tower or standing on a hill videoing them. We didn't get to go through that.
Oh, okay.
We rode through the washes, and the washes weren't full.
Okay.
When you left the base camp,
right,
and you sort of went and you turned left and you went through this wash there.
Yep.
It was pretty dry. I mean, the part of it, and then the back. Of course, there was a storm that came in the day we left that was just rain like you wouldn't believe.
I'm wondering if you were there the day before me then, because it was a torrential downpour. We had to call it for a little bit and go back up to the main hut.
We were there the first day, the photo embargo and stuff. So the first day for participants, non-media type stuff. Oh, it was June 24th or whatever that Monday was.
I was day 2. You were there the day before me then.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, so that was fun. And so, we passed them because we were there Monday and then a half a day Tuesday.
Okay. Yep.
And so now I think they've condensed it a little bit from what I understand.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That water was deep, and that was impressive. And I was getting the video from what you were talking about from that perspective, and I was like, man, that thing's still going. That's pretty deep.
Yeah. Well, it's not like I said, it was cool to see that on some of the videos, but for us, I was just so overwhelmed by some of the stuff we got to climb there. We were talking before the show that the notch, right?
The notch. Yep.
Yeah, and so it was fun going up for me, and I hit that one rock at the very end near the top and kind of bottomed out a little bit. And that was fun to go around it. But what got it for me was the downhill part.
Yeah.
For when you're new, that's intimidating.
Oh man.
And so the spotter, we were talking, trust your spotter.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You got to trust your spotter. I mean, at the end of the day, I believe that you're responsible for your vehicle, the people in it, and the people around you. But ultimately that's your responsibility. You don't run over somebody if you can, that you're supposed to stop that from happening. But trust your spotter and don't trash your spotter.
Right.
They're out there trying to help you. It's always nice when there's only one, but those guys were great that were working there. And I know this part you're talking about where you're coming down. I think we had a 2-door kind of get off camber, and it got into a weird situation, and they had to go back up it and strap onto him and pull him off of the ledge because he kind of, it was wet, it was slick. He kind of slid off to the side. So
was that a yellow 2-door?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that in one of your videos there. It was a great shot, by the way. I like the camera angles because you were able to pick up. I think it's different too. You're filming what someone maybe is going to have an issue with because you've been there, done that. So it might help to versus when you're new, you're not anticipating where somebody could get in a tight spot.
It was leaned over. I just still didn't even feel like the picture did justice to how far that thing was leaning. So.
Yeah. F2F Terrain asked, ask Tony if he thinks his Bronco can hang with his Raptor. I get your pickup.
Yeah, I think it will.
Yeah.
I think it's headed that way. I mean, right now it's a toss up. The Raptor's not stock,
right.
But I get in that Bronco. I'm pretty happy. I mean, it rides a little better. I mean, I don't know how you feel about yours, but I feel like the rear of mine's a little stiff, and it hits that bump zone pretty quick. but you put a little weight in the back of that thing and it's smooth and it handles well. So
Yeah.
the Bronco's going to beat it before we're done with it. And I mean, I'm not talking about going 40s. I mean, I may stay with 35s on this thing, just get some more travel and fix it up and go back down to Baja if I can.
Well, I feel like, speaking of Raptor, the Bronco Raptor, you want to share any news on that? I mean, any chances of getting one?
I mean, I think I got a chance. I'm just not sure how I have one that never got picked up. So the one that I'm driving now, the first edition, was actually going to be my wife's. She gave up, and then I had ordered the Badlands and Velocity Blue, and I was just getting ready to change it to green. I love the green you got. I think it's just a beautiful color.
Yeah.
And they came out. I got that email that said, "Hey, click this button if you want to be considered or if you're interested." I can't remember the exact language. And so I did and called my dealer, and I was like, "Hey, man, I don't know who's in charge of this, but I wouldn't mind having one if I could get my hands on it." And so that other one's been pushed from a 21 to a 22, and it hasn't even been picked to be built yet. So I don't know if it's going to 23 or what, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I'll briefly, kind of summarize the story on our second one, because I did not want it right now. I mean, I'm grateful we got it. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but I mean, I was kind of thinking, well, wouldn't it be nice if a lot of other people got theirs before we got our second one? That was sort of my, But so I'm kind of behind the curve on the engine. We did a video November 10th. Remember that? What engine was going to be in the Raptor? And it was a lot of people's common knowledge, 3.0. And I tried to go into thinking behind it. Well, one thing I said in the video that I'm trying to track down, I don't know if you know anything about it. Someone said last week on All Terrain's live stream that he had, I was on, which is a great live stream, by the way. We were on there, and in the comments we were bouncing around, and it was I thought it was the Explorer, the 3.0 for the Explorer, right? So it's all aluminum. Well, apparently it's the CGI block in the Raptor. So I'm wondering, did Ford do what I was thinking they were going to do? And I said it in that video for November 10th. Did they sort of just punch out a 2.7 block and then build kind of around that?
Wow. They said it was a little bit different. Even that engineer said they made some changes, but he, obviously wasn't going to tell us exactly what he did. And I think there's something to that, because they can't tell you what the horsepower is going to be yet, or they don't want to.
Well, they're starting at 4, but I think my prediction was, what was it, 465 to 480? That's where I think it's going to be.
That's going to be insane.
That's just my humble opinion. But when I looked at it, I said, to me, it seems to me that why would you cast an entirely new block, like a block made just like the 3.0? Because see, I think the bore on the 2.7 is like a square. We call it a square engine. The bore and the stroke's the same. But I want to say the stroke on the 3.0 is 0.85 or something like that millimeters. I personally think, and maybe I'm totally wrong because I'm saying I don't know, that I'm wondering, did they punch out a 2.7 block and just sort of build around that? And then if they did they keep the belt drive variable capacity pump, or did they do crank driven or whatever? So I didn't know if you knew anything about it.
Boy, you're getting out of my realm. I'm okay. I'm coming over from Chrysler and Hemi. So,
gotcha.
So a lot of this is new. I had a Gen 2 Raptor that had the 3.5, and I liked it okay, but I went back to the Gen 1 for, obviously it just feels like a truck,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gavin, you have any questions, buddy?
Not really.
Not really? Gavin's just—
You're not going to pick me up, Gavin?
No, like you were gone for a month and now you don't— not really? Come on. How many weeks was it? Like 3 weeks. Hey, can I see in the comments, how many people are glad Gavin's back? Like,
I'm glad.
Thanks. Yeah. So I told
I can't
Gavin,
comment right now, but
yeah. Already I told Gavin, I was like, dude, man, I feel lost without you up here. Come on back. So, and not say anything bad about my lovely wife, she's a great co-host, but Gavin's sort of the life of the party most of the time, right?
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
So Supercell lease, Gavin keeps talking about it, and I'm kind of bouncing around here tonight, but in Supercell, we were able to see a lot of early Broncos and even late model Broncos with some cool accessories, right? And aftermarket parts and people doing their unique thing to it. I think what's going to be amazing this time is seeing the 6th gen Bronco totally tricked out, right? Some of them are going to be cosmetic, some are performance, some straight axle. Yeah.
Do you, some of them I saw at Moab, I didn't see at Supercell. And I think that's the right order. I can't remember which order I went to the two of them in, but I think that's the right order. I went to Moab first, and the ARB one and the 4-wheel drive parts one were just slick. And the RTR one they had one of their RTRs there, the Fun Haver stuff. It was really cool.
So when Gavin and I make our trip out west, right? What should we do for, driving? I mean, first of all, you're driving it, so I don't want to take a big risk on tearing something totally up.
Right.
Because I kind of need to get back home. And I don't think, and if I bought a third Bronco, my wife wouldn't let me back home. So where should we go?
Have you been to the San Juans yet? Around Lake City, Colorado, Telluride, Ouray or Ouray, depending on who, that's a great place to start. The scenery is beautiful. Shelf roads, they can be as exciting as you want. And they're narrow in places. There's some switchbacks. You get to play around with your trail turn assist. You can stay off Black Bear if you're not interested in that. I think I've said it before in my videos. It's an amateur trail with professional consequences. So there's really no reason to go get that badge of honor if you're not comfortable with it, right? Because it's unforgiving or it's nothing. So
that was in your Black Bear, your Black Bear Pass video that we were talking about. That was so there's a corner, or I say a corner, there's a trail there where it's a pretty tight spot and you had to make a hard right. And that's where we were talking trail turn assist would come in. But you would consider that, and I did hear you say that in your video, amateur track professional consequences. So, or course or trail, I should say.
Trail,
See, I'm a newbie. I'm getting there.
You're all right. You're good.
So that would be something that we would try, of course, with a group. So,
right.
So overlanding for fun, I'm more of into Fortnite. First of all, because it's a free game, and second of all, it's really easy. Because he coming in 8:20 a minute ago. Responding to that, I'm more into Fortnite because it's easier to join my friends and straight. And I honestly don't feel like paying $20 on my PS5 for a game that I won't even play.
There you go.
See, they're already working the math. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was so the first ever live stream, you go from Black Bear to PS5.
Right.
Or Minecraft or something. So pretty cool. We're always trying to break ground here.
It seems like all these podcasts recently are tying video games and metaverse and everything together with off-roading. So
it's like, why not? Let's just go with it.
I mean,
I'm going to have to brush up on this.
I play, I wish I could play Forza, but that's only on Xbox.
Hey, I'd just be happy playing Atari again, like Pac-Man or something. I don't care.
I mean, we have that.
We have a little video game. I know we do.
And I play Baja Edge of Control. That's like Baja Racing in the desert.
Nice.
So it's like $5 on PlayStation.
Okay, F2F frame. Yeah, I'm going to look into that. That'd be great. So, where do you have any plans? Anything for the Bronco where you're going to go? Kind of any big outings or anything, or how are you going?
This is probably going to be unpopular, but I'm taking it to EJS in April. So I'm going out there with a bunch of other Bronco guys and Jeep guys, and then we're taking, I think, 3 Gladiators, 2 Broncos. We're going out there together. We're going to have a good time. I like off-roading. To me, I don't care what you're in as long as you're capable in it and you're cool. If somebody breaks down, let's help each other out. Let's keep rolling.
Right.
Have a good time, be supportive. And to me, that's what it's about. It's about spending time outdoors with like-minded people. I don't care what they drive. I do, it's weird. There's a stigma. It's polarizing. You pull up to, we were going out to dinner the other night. We had to pull through a gate to get up to the place we were eating. And the guy come out and he goes, "I like the old Broncos. I don't like those." And I was like, "Hey, man."
Yeah, you're like, hey, well, hey, real quick. Who's Jamie?
My wife.
Okay. She
picking on me?
Yeah, she said, "Aren't you taking your wife on a trip, Tony?"
So she was.
Hi, Jamie. How are you?
It's my 25th anniversary, and I was trying to turn that into an off-roading trip, and that was getting shot down. So I wasn't sure what I should say. Right.
I was going to say that's pretty slick there.
I was trying to, I was like, we can go up to we can go to Nevada, we can go down the Rubicon Trail, maybe go down through wine country, and she was just like, unless you can drive that to Hawaii, I'm not going.
Well, yeah. So Becky's wanting to go on a vacation. I'm like, well, look, great. We'll go Supercell. We'll spend a couple of days in Pigeon Forge, and there's our vacation for the year. But that wouldn't cut it. So
come out. My parents have a campground in Lake City, Colorado. We all come out there together. There's a group of guys.
So bad.
Yeah, Come on,
What,
there's
if you want to go out there,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I want to go there in Utah.
Well, I told my wife, I was like, well, now we need to buy a car hauler.
And
She's like, look,
so you can have both of them out there.
take both of them out there. She said, look, now that's wishful thinking at this point. So
Yeah,
but we do have means to haul vehicles.
And I really want to go to Michigan to go to the Henry Ford Museum.
Yeah, he wants to go to Henry Ford Museum and also want to do ride by Wayne, Michigan, see the map, Michigan Assembly Plant. Yeah,
it's Ice Mountain now, right?
It is. So we went from dirt to ice. Yeah,
Momentarily.
Yeah, and I was telling someone the other day, as a business owner, I feel for this whole supply shortage stuff going on. And there was a prediction the first of the year chips were going to dry up again.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do a video on it because that was one channel's opinion. They seemed very knowledgeable, and then it turns out they were right. Yeah. We were going to do a video with them one day, and okay, great, you called it, and so I think though that you remember the last time we had the chip shortage? Boy, don't say that too many times, you get in trouble.
Be careful.
Yeah, it cleaned up, at least I thought, pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, in another life, I guess, my day job, I own an IT company. And that's what we do, and we're suffering with it a little bit too. The chip shortage is not just isolated to vehicles, and I know everybody knows that. Yeah. But we'll order big servers and storage arrays and stuff, and order them in July and don't get them until December. I know people like Dell and HP, they want that stuff sold, and it's just, it's logistically a nightmare right now. Right. So I feel terrible for the people. I sat in Dirt Mountain for I think 90 days, something like that. Don't quote me, but it was a long time. So, the people in Ice Mountain, I'm like, it's not a rite of passage, but I guess it is,
Yeah. Well, it's part of the story too. I think with where we're at, one of the hottest vehicles ever to hit at this time, it's personally, and maybe I just have no idea what I'm talking about, but I commend everyone in upper management because I know how it is for us building houses. We're building a house for Pete's sakes, but we can't get some of the necessary items to make that house complete.
Right.
And it's frustrating. And then when you can, the price is up.
And you're waiting on strange things, possibly like faucets. And what I'm hearing is these little nuts and bolts chips that you need for, these cars. And I think Ford would like nothing better than to have all of those things out of there paid for and in other people's garages.
I was going to say, I can assure you when you look at all the Broncos at map there that are built, that no one on this planet would rather them be on a train or a truck than the people at Ford. So, and I think, well, and I know because I've heard, especially on like earning calls and things like that, how they're looking to modify just in time, manufacturing and kind of modify it. And certain things that aren't like big items and really expensive. It's hard to say, but chips, I think, is something that's going to be stored heavily. Yeah. Let's go through some of the comments here. Are you good for that?
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate everybody commenting. And All Terrain Nation, thanks for that super chat. That is awesome. Let's see who got their Bronco this weekend. I just saw that.
It was, I think, it was Bluford.
Bluford. So excited! I got my Bronco. Well, congratulations, Bluford. That's awesome. Yeah, no.
I feel like we should have a party.
Yeah, we should. Let's do it. All right. So you were day one, you said.
Day one, yeah, early day one.
Yeah, I remember the crashing website.
Yeah, I held out though because I wanted the Mick top, and I wanted the black leather. I didn't want the navy pier, so I knew that was going to cause a delay for me. I was so excited when I opened the doors of that thing, and the whole inside of it's murdered out. Dash is black, bezels are black, everything in it's black. It just is like couldn't be happier.
Yeah, that's good. So, did you have a hard time picking the color of your?
No, I wanted Velocity Blue, but Jamie overruled because that was going to be hers. And she was like, Area 51, it just sounds cool. We saw it at a car show. She loved it. And it does look really, really good. So, yeah.
We did this, the video, I don't know if you saw with our green, it was sort of the eruption green walk around. And, I had somebody ask me, they said, we're really struggling with the color. So I don't really know what you like, but the one thing I can tell you is that if you're sort of that chilled stealthy kind of cool color, Area 51's for you. If you want something with a lot of flake, a lot of attention, eruption green might be between those two colors. I mean, there's also, hot pepper red and of course cyber orange, and I mean the list goes on.
Well, I have billet KMC machete wheels for it, and they're shiny, and so that's why I wanted that sparkle velocity blue. And when I saw that green, I was like, oh man, these are going to look so good on there. But yeah, it'll look really good on Area 51 too.
Yeah. Let's see here.
I've never heard of.
Is anyone going to have their new Bronco undercoated? Yeah. What's the pros and cons of undercoating, you think?
I've never done it.
I don't live in a region that I feel like I'd have to or should.
I left it in the garage when we just got through getting our snow and the salt. And so I was like, you know what? Raptor's out. It's in the weather. It's already salty. I'll just salt one and
yeah,
it'll be gone here in a day or two. And then I'll get the Bronco back out.
So the eruption green has salt on it already. So I've been washing it off every day. I think we came home the other night at 12:30 and it's 28 degrees and I have the hose going. And I know my neighbors are probably like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, you don't understand.
You just
Area
don't
50,
understand.
Yeah. Like my neighbor.
So someone on here commented a few weeks ago, I was talking about the Area 51 stays in the garage and clean right now. And because we're trying to get a lot of the video for the components underneath that you can only get when it's new, right? Once. And so it was called a gelding. So I'm like, all right, so now I've got to go out and get it muddy and try to get its pride back here. Let's see. F2F Terrain thinks that the Raptor is going to be 440 to 450 horsepower.
Nice.
Yeah. That's a very good.
Well, how do you feel about that 2.7? I mean, you're more of a motor guy than me. I'm a displacement guy. I had the big block and the thing, but I think technology wise, that's just old school stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, welcome to Ford. So EcoBoost is this cool thing. Ford played the moderator between the federal government and the energy efficiency standards, the mileage, right? The gas mileage requirements and what we want as far as performance. And so the EcoBoost it came, they started years ago with the Duratec program and they built it out, but its job, when I say its job, but it's to give us the performance we want, right? But the fuel economy to get it sold without it costing an arm and a leg. I like it. So I like the engine. It's got a lot of electronic stuff on there, between electronic wastegates and there's, the intercoolers that's on the engine. I like. Some people are, changing the intercoolers on it. Now, the one thing, and this where turbo techs can really help out with this is, you got to watch the velocity versus the pressure. You don't want to get too much condensation going in the intercooler and getting all that going. I think the 2.7, the way it is, adding a tuning from Ford whenever it comes out, because I think it's out for the 2.3 or it's soon to be out, but I don't think it's out for the 2.7. I could be wrong. I like the 2.7 to answer your question in a long answer. I really think it's a good engine.
Yeah. I'm happy with it. I'm pleasantly surprised, to be honest with you. At Bronco off-roadeo, I spent more time in a 2.3 manual than I did in a 2.7. So really the day I picked it up was the first time I really got to drive a 2.7. And once I learned to drive it like a turbo instead of a big, V8, it was like, oh man, all you got to do is just get in this thing and it'll go.
Yeah. And it doesn't have a lot of lag, right? Because, the turbos are so close to the actual cylinder. So there's very little lag. And when it goes, it goes.
Yep.
How many miles you have on yours about?
1,900.
Oh, okay. And when did you get it?
December. I can't remember. Sometime in December.
Gotcha.
You've been driving a lot.
Yeah, so you drove it more than I've driven. Our Area 51, we got it September 24th, and it has 2,000 miles on it now. The Eruption Green we got 2 weeks ago, and it has 1,000 on it. So
I'm trying to get past that number that concerns everybody, but I looked at my engine, and it seems to be in the window of they're not having issues with them. So I feel pretty confident, but I thought I'd like to get that 2,500 to 4,500 before I took off to Antarctica. So, which isn't happening, but I was trying to get some miles on it just to be safe,
Yeah. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, we were going to go up to Antarctica. It was like a 2-week trip. We're going to go all the way up to the top, then come back down to somewhere down in Alaska, Anchorage for the Iditarod, if I said that right. But there's some issues right now with logistics that postponed that trip probably till next year at this rate. Everything will thaw out, but will be thawed out, before we can get through. But I was pretty excited. I was like, I've been wanting to run the Alcan 5000, the Alcan 5000 forever, and it's hard to get drawn for. And when Mel Wade threw up this Arctic trip, I was like, hey, pick me, because I've been on his trips, and they're no joke.
So that's pretty bold, though. I mean, that's not like just headed 3 states over. That's like, wow. And what's the duration of a trip like that? What are you looking at?
I think I talked to it'd been 2 weeks, because we'd been 7 days, 8 days to get up and get back down to Anchorage, and then it's 46 hours of straight driving, if I'm right, to get out of Anchorage back through Canada. Because at the time, I think you have a window to get through Canada, and so it was going to be a hard trip, and I was going solo. So I was pretty concerned about it, but I talked to some of the other guys that were signed up, and they were like, yeah, we'll Ironman it, but we'll run together. But I think by the time I got there, 2 days to get out to the starting point, and then 2 days to get back from the starting point, I was going to be like 10,000 miles on that trip.
Jeez, man. Yeah. So what do you do on that? Do you try to find a place to do an oil change, or you just run it?
Well, I know you're supposed to put Arctic oil, some oil that's made to run at -40 in it. So I don't know where I was going to make that change, but I was 0-30. Yeah. So I was going to bring it back down when I got back to the States and have it changed again. So
did you get a crankcase heater on yours, or a block heater?
I did. And I was trying to figure out how to get one added. And there was so many things that I was trying to get done in a very short amount of time. There was a big sense of relief that the trip didn't make in a lot of ways. So.
And
So
Mr. Chrome.
What's that?
Mr. Chrome?
Oh, okay.
I've heard of that on Donut Media.
Yeah. I hear that's like a rap or something. Kevin GR, hello. F2F Terrain said he, I guess, works in the chip industry. Don't blame him. Don't worry, we're not.
We're not. Nope.
Do 51. We got ours. Okay, good deal. Sorry about that. Hey, and I appreciate everybody commenting tonight. It's pretty cool. It's our first time consistently doing Facebook as well as Twitter, right? Yep. So we've done one of the other with a stream. It's the first time we just blasting it out. And so that's why we didn't run the intro tonight. Right, Mr. Gavin?
Mm-hmm. And so before I get off, I want to go ahead and show off our new swag.
Yeah, so Gavin, he has school tomorrow, so little man has to head out. So why don't you show everyone what we got? Tony, if you don't mind, take a break here.
I'm ready to see.
All right, show everyone what we got, buddy.
This is the beanie that we have on our store, drivenwildgear.com.
drivenwildgear.com.
And then you can also buy the Driven book,
which is totally un-Bronco related.
Yeah, but it's just like, why not? And we also have a vest, but
we have these custom one-off vests, various sizes. There's not a lot of them, and they're made from recycled bottles. So from a drink to a vest, pretty cool.
But I mean, they're a little too big to just go up here. So
yeah, it's kind of awkward doing that, rubbing against the mic. But that was Gavin's idea. He said, "Let's not do that." So. Are you done?
Yep.
All right, you want to say goodbye to everyone, and thanks for being back, man.
Bye, everyone.
See you, Gavin. Thanks for being cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat like one of my favorite dinners.
You say bye to him.
Bye.
And maybe we'll see Mr. Tony there at Supercell or wherever. Yeah. Maybe Supercell West.
Maybe you'll come to Colorado.
I want to go to West.
So whether we bring the Bronco or not, but I think we will go.
We're driving the Bronco.
We are? Okay. All right. You heard it here first.
We didn't go last time, so
all right, buddy.
This time, but in the Bronco.
See you, man.
Bye, everybody.
Right.
Good night.
So, Gavin here, he's a lot of fun, and I think when you go out in the Bronco with him, he's just so happy. Yesterday he lights up when which Bronco we take out. Are we driving the Bronco? Because it's like, yes, we're driving the Bronco, and but yesterday was my daughter's birthday, so she and her friends drove one, and we drove the other. It was just a fun time. So,
wow, happy birthday to her. Today we celebrated my daughter's 18th. So,
well, that was my daughter's 18th birthday yesterday. It went by like that, didn't it?
It sure did.
Yeah. And so one of the things I tell everyone, the Bronco to us is making me slow down to the point to where not a day goes by that I won't remember every single, like literally in my house, every single conversation. Gavin and I are going to spend so much time in that Bronco this year, one of them, camping, going on these trips, doing this stuff, and I can't wait. So we've already started our day tripping stuff, but yeah, it's fun.
So are you going to go for a Raptor?
So I did. I guess I'll tell everyone. I did tell my dealer, I know you're probably getting one, and I'd like it.
And it's mine.
And but now that's their decision if
Yeah.
they're watching. I know one of the salespeople watch there all the time. Hello, please. But yeah, we'll see. And the thing there is, it's such a sought after vehicle. What will the price end up being on it?
Right.
Am I lucky enough to get it for MSRP? It would be nice, but we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I keep shaking my screen. Sorry. But I mean, the 2.7 souped up aftermarket suspension, how much different is it going to be for 99% of the people out there? I mean,
right.
And am I even in that 1% that would care? Could I build it? Can I build it for $30,000 less? And I mean, yes, I want one. Yes, I put my name in for it. But if you're being rational, can I build one with, some of these new components that's coming out from, SVC, Camberg, RPG, Funhaver? They've got all this cool stuff coming out, these new shocks. I mean, get a good tune on it and grip and rip.
So let me ask you, if someone, so our number one trip will be to the Outer Banks in the sand. How do you gauge? I mean, the sand's different, I guess.
Yeah.
The type of sand, but like, how do you, well, I want to get into that. Why is it scary? But what do you gauge how you air down? What PSI? Is it based on the tire or the type of sand?
For me, it's based on the tire size and the load rating of the tire, right? So those Goodriches are pretty soft that came on it. So, you let a little bit of air out of them and they bulge up pretty good. But if you're running like a Nitto or something like that, we're running 40s, I'll go down to 6-7 pounds out there with bead locks, obviously.
Yeah.
And, they're flapping a little bit, but man, you got traction and if you got horsepower too, it doesn't really matter. So
without bead lock, will you think 20 would suffice? Or
I would still, it depends. Are you going to be cutting? Are you going to be going straight? If you're going to be cutting a lot, then yeah, I would stay up around that. Otherwise, you're going to roll it off.
Right, and that's not somewhere you want to roll a tire.
No, yeah, but if you're going to be bombing, through the whoop section and stuff like that,
right,
might go down a little bit more just for traction's sake. But
yeah, well, I think we'll start at 20, and we'll just go from there. And a lot of people that go down there already, they have it figured out for what works best for them. And there's a few Broncos down there. I've been watching their videos, and we're so ready to go. We actually had a trip planned, but we had a snowstorm come in, and we had a coastal storm with like 50-mile-per-hour winds. And I didn't like the whole idea of sand flying like that.
All right.
I mean, it's going to get sandy, but it's different when it's blowing like that.
Yeah.
Why does sand scare you?
It's hard for me. It's hard to read still. I don't spend a lot of time on it. So when we're out like at Pismo, bombing around through there, I have a hard time reading the dunes. And the last time I went to Pismo, I was in a 6-speed JK with the small engine, the factory engine, and it was on 40s, and we went over something. And I was in the wrong gear, and I literally, as much as I've done it, I freaked out, got stuck between gears, and just had to turn it right down that hill, and just, I just took it.
just a little yeah.
Got my heart racing, and I was like,
going to say, yeah, that was a little scary there. So, I guess, what do you think about mud?
I don't do mud.
Yeah, mud's just terrible, isn't it?
You don't know what you broke for 3 months. In my opinion, you got it in bearings, you got it in seals, you got it everywhere you don't want it. And then it wears that stuff out, and then you're dealing with leaks months and months later that ruin your next trip or frustrate you. So, yeah.
Hey, we have somebody commented. Yes, I do answer it. I try to give our guests the majority of the attention for a night, and then we kind of go through the comments. But I do appreciate your comment. What can you say about the Broncos' reliability compared to the Wrangler? Well, you're the man to ask so far.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I haven't owned it that long. I think it's built really well. I do read a lot of the comments. I don't like on my channel and other people's channels.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people complain about the fit and finish inside the Bronco, but I think it's pretty stellar, right? Probably, the things that I'm concerned about is The windows, the windows roll down just a little bit when you go to open them.
Yep.
They don't roll down when they're covered nice.
Right.
So there's a few things like that. I think I want to see what happens over time. People are kind of complaining about the water dripping in when the doors open and it's raining outside, but that happens in the Wrangler too, right?
Right.
So I would say if this motor holds up, and which some people say it's not, but I feel like it's a good motor, and maybe it's a small pool of people having trouble. I think it's going to be a great piece of equipment. Now the aftermarket support for the Wrangler is, second to none. There's products everywhere. When you break down in Moab or you break down on Rubicon Trail, somebody out there has the part you need to get you back on the road. You're not going to have that luxury initially when you go out there in a Bronco. That's my opinion, and it will grow. Pretty soon everybody will have all the little things that you always break on every off-road vehicle. And
it's going to happen. Yeah. Jeff asked, Tony, what's your favorite feature on the Bronco compared to your Jeeps?
My favorite feature on it. I like the fact that I can lock the front axle without locking the rear axle. I know you can use a taser and you can fix that in a JL, but right off the bat, I love that. And this thing's going to seem petty, but I like the little, the fact that I have power outlets up on the dash and I don't have to run those myself. So those are the creature comforts and the things I like about it. But that independent front suspension, the way it drives, hands down. And I'm a Jeep guy, so I know there's a place for a solid front axle.
Right.
I want to get a debate about that, but 99% of what I do, that just works better for me. So I never thought I would say that ever.
Right.
Ever. You heard it here.
Yeah, heard it here first. All right. Well, breaking news.
Yeah.
We'll do the breaking news banner here in a little bit.
Oh man.
So Aaron Payne.
Oh no.
Can
Happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday, Aaron. Can she come on the trip with you?
Yeah, she can come on the trip with me.
Yeah. And Kevin says, my windows had no problem opening covered in ice. So we had 2 in southeastern Virginia. We don't get much weather here like that. We've had 2 storms, 2 weekends in a row, or I think it was 2 weekends in a row, both times covered in ice. And I just let it warm up. I did the preheat and just one cycle, and I was able to open my my window.
Good.
Now I did get the ice off the outside. I took an ice scraper and without raking the trim, I just kind of lightly broke it because I've seen that before. And it came right off and the windows opened, and luckily, but now we were in the high 20s. So maybe, colder, more a long period of or cycle of rain or freezing rain or snow might,
Well, and I don't have a lot of experience with that. We're in Oklahoma. We get it occasionally. We get it once or twice a year. I just walked out, I'd hit the starter, start and walked out, and I just grabbed it and jerked on it. And it didn't come down. And I was like, that's probably on me for not knowing. But that's what I did. And I was like, oh man, but it's good to know people who are experienced with ice know how to do this. And it's just, I think it's going to come down a lot to that though, right? Operator error.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people's complaints or concerns with what they don't like about these things is going to be that,
Yeah. And another thing is boosted engines. You should really let the engine heat up first. Yeah. And the 2.7, I don't know if you've noticed, heats up really quick, and the 2.3 as well.
It's comfortable pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's because they've integrated the exhaust manifold into the head, so more of the exhaust is touching the water, so it starts to heat up pretty quick. The Michael said, "Happy hi, Gavin." Gavin has left the building. He will be back. I will tell him you said that. Best channel in the world. Thank you so much, Michael. I definitely appreciate that. Thank you. In the Bronco Badlands, do you have to worry about sand getting into the bearings and the seals? And while you're going on the beaches, having fun on the beach, what's your idea on that?
As long as that's, the CV boots, right? As long as those are in good shape, you should be fine. But that's going to be your Achilles heel, I think, on those. Same thing with the IFS Chevy truck or anything else. You got a tear in it, even a razor, you're going to experience that. So.
Yeah. And F2F Train said you can hit 50 miles per hour easy on the Outer Banks OBX. I'd stick with 20 PSI. Yeah, I think we'll start there and we'll kind of, work it from there when we go. Now, I don't know about 50.
You can do it.
Yeah. Do you know Dream Feaster?
Yeah.
So I said hello. Let's see here. This stream is hear ya. Let's see, what do we have going on? I want to try to hit some of these comments here because my moderate Becky does a lot of the moderating, but she is not here with us. So let me see if we can go through it. So, and someone Do 51 said Antarctica ? Yeah, you were really postponed, right? But you're going.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Yeah. The crankcase, or I call it the crankcase, the block heater, I think would definitely do some really good.
I was scrambling. I mean, and my dealer goes, "Don't you want to add this?" And I was like, "What do I need that for?" Right. When I spec'd it out. And then it's like first trip out of the gate, the guy's like, "You better get a block heater." And I was like, I don't even know if I can source those right now. So
yeah. It's probably hard. It's a neat little device, it really no thermostat in it. It just works off resistance. But I have one in the Area 51. I did not get it in the Eruption Green. It's one of the small things. I'll tell you the story. We reserved Badlands and a Wild Track, and we priority coded 99, the Wild Track, and we had our active order for the Area 51 Badlands. And I was watching the Bronco Nation stream, and Estevan said, pretty much in a roundabout way, if you don't have your VIN that day, you were going to be a 22.
Yeah.
So I told my wife, I said, that's it. Let's go ahead. And we switched it that day. A week later, I got a build date, and we got every single thing we wanted. 2.7 marine grade, Lux, tow, everything that we wanted, except for the MIC top, which I'm happy with it because in, 10 seconds, I have a convertible.
Right.
And, and maybe 20 minutes when you know what you're doing, you have the windows out and have a true, the top all the way down. And then, so what happened was at the end of October, they had to take all of the 21s off of priority code 99, turn them into 22 orders. And then once it was an order, then you could priority code 99 that. Well, the person that does it at the dealership, she was off on Thursday. So she did the switch on Wednesday. Well, Thursday's when the build dates come out.
Oh, man. You got a build date.
And it popped the next day. And I was like, okay, so it's mid-package, race red, Wild Track. It's like, wait a minute, I changed my mind. But they didn't know that. It's not their fault. It was my fault because I didn't relay this earlier.
Right.
Because I could have told them, but in my head, it made sense. Well, I'll wait until we order it and then we'll change it. So that Friday, we were actually able to change after being issued a VIN and a build date. We were able to change the color, the trim, but the modular bumper wasn't available. So we got the capable, which I actually like.
I do like that. I saw that on yours.
I like it. We didn't get tow, and I think the block heater got left off, and that's it. And it has MIC, which we're going to work on a fix for the noise, the clicking noise over the driver's side.
Yes.
We have a fix for that.
Mine just started doing it. It didn't do it on day one, but it does it now.
Yeah, we have, I say we have a fix. I think we're going to film it later this week. And if it works, obviously, if it doesn't work, you'll never see the video. I'm being honest. All right.
I still would like to see the video. It's going to be,
I don't want to crash and burn on YouTube here, but no, we have an idea of what we can do with it, and it wouldn't be what the top manufacturer would do, but they could take the idea and run with it. And so we'll see if it works. Yep. I mean, people have put silicone spray on it and stopped it, So
I was just driving along and I was like, what in the heck is that? And where did that come from?
Yeah,
I'm flipping the levers and I'm like, this is like, I mean, it's noisy, but it's no noisier than a Jeep, but that clicking noise annoys me. Right. Yeah.
And I get it. We're essentially first year, even though it's a 22. I mean, it's that first design. And it doesn't upset me, right? There's so many things in this world that gets my blood pressure up, and that's not one of them. We'll fix it. It'll be taken care of. One of these days, there'll be a bulletin come out on it. There'll be a simple fix, and I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I just know that when we're driving these Broncos, it's incredible. Excuse me. Do you still get everybody looking or staring at you when driving it down the road?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like the first, I was moving in that thing, it was driving really good. It was really smooth. I was out on the interstate and I was shagging, and this highway patrolman comes, wow. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, I'm lit up. I'm thinking, and he pulls up beside me and he just starts pacing me and he looks at it, gives me the thumbs up and just, and I was like, oh,
your heart could start beating again. I was like, okay.
That happened to me twice. And I was like, okay, this thing's getting a different kind of attention than I was expecting.
Yeah, we went by an accident Friday, unfortunately for the people in the accident, but it looked like everybody was okay. But and the first responders there were giving us thumbs up and waving us. Like that was a weird little scene there, but
Yeah.
it's just so different still. Overlanding for Fun has probably the quote of the year. He said, "I remind people that the Bronco is an off-road vehicle that was designed to have the doors and the roof off. If if having outside elements inside the Bronco bothers them, the Bronco's not for them."
I love it.
Yeah,
Give that man a prize or girl
yeah,
a
that's
prize.
right.
I'm
That's
not
right.
sure, but yeah.
Yeah, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, give that gentleman a
Tim,
prize.
so thanks for that, Tim. Never truer statement. It is not supposed to be that whisper quiet. My wife has a Range Rover Sport, and it's the cockpit's quiet by itself. Like you don't hear a lot of outside noise. The problem there, you hear tire noise. The tires are so big on that thing. And so you hear that in the vehicle, but it's a lot quieter, but she can't go half the places I can go.
Right.
So it's a different vehicle. So I love hearing the tires, those 35-inch tires hit the ground. I love it.
Well, my wife has a brand new Tesla Model 3 and it whistles the
Okay.
driver's side mirror. So it's like nothing's perfect.
Exactly. Everybody. And I think for the first year, like I'm happy with it. Anyway, Kevin said engine heater came standard in mine. Isn't that a northern thing?
You know what? That might be because I'm
If
not
you're
northern.
maybe if you're in Canada or and Alex Payne said loving the podcast. So that's good. Yeah. Why don't you tell everybody that you're
I got a whole freaking family, don't I?
You got the whole family. Hey, I appreciate them. Hello.
This is the most
Payne
active
family.
they've been on it. That's why it's Trail Cartel. So
Yeah.
it was a whole group of us. And so I'm glad to see them pitching in. They all took advantage of the ludicrous prices for off-road vehicles, and so they sold 3 Jeeps in a short order of time. But we still have 1 Gladiator and 1 Bronco and another Bronco on order. So I think we're going to get more family videos coming soon.
There you go. Get the family back involved. Do you want to talk about the podcast? Or is that sort of another deal?
Oh, the podcast I'm on with Bubba.
Yes.
Yeah. It's called The Parts Room. It's his podcast, but I'm sure thankful to be a part of it. And we both have our own podcast studios. We're still working out a lot of technical issues getting the two connected, but I think we're finally getting my audio where it doesn't sound like I'm underwater. But we have a lot of fun. We get, that's a real opinionated podcast. Yeah. It's real straightforward. No apologies type of thing. And, it's a real good time. And we try to dive into specific things that might come up in his shop at that point in time, or something that we might see on the trail or might have experienced that we just want to talk about and dive into. And we're also both a little bit ADD, so it'd be like squirrels. Next thing you know, we're not even talking. 3 podcasts later in an hour and a half, It's like,
yeah. Hey, no, I get it. Sometimes I'm bouncing around the content here. It's like, oh, I know what I wanted to say yesterday. Let me tell you about this trip. Now, what about Bubba? Is he doing anything with the Bronco there, or is it Jeep stuff? Or
no, well, his shop's primarily Jeep stuff right now because that's primarily what's coming in. But he just did a Bronco. A guy brought in a Bronco and used a space lifter. Brought in like a 2-inch. I think it was rough country. And so we talked a little bit about that in the last podcast about how effective that little bitty small lift kit was. The guy brought in some takeoffs from a Sasquatch and brought in those spacers, put it on there. It looked just like a Sasquatch. It drove great. It handled great. And that's a very capable vehicle for, $1,500 maybe in parts or less. So that was kind of the heart of it is, you're going to spend a ton of money to get a Bronco on 40s, but you can spend a very modest amount of money to make a very effective 35-inch tire vehicle.
Yeah, the 40s are cool. It's not my interest. I told my wife I said 35s, maybe 37s one day, but I'm happy with it.
Yeah. And everything that you got to decide what you want to do because everything, it's a slippery slope. The bigger the tires get, the more pressure you're putting on different things. And are you going to change out your fenders? Or are you going to go to some of that cool looking ADV stuff? Or
I don't think so. I mean, well, let me say this. I have no plans right now of doing any body work or any major driveline work to it. It's just sort of the accessories tricking out, but who knows? Sometimes my attention span changes.
Squirrel.
And, exactly. Same way. And who knows what'll happen? Most likely to the green one because that's the one that's going to see the mud first, the sand first, the camping first. It's the other one's trying to do a little more video with.
We did it I bought all that stuff. You know, I think the hood's in. I'm waiting. I ordered the 5-inch fenders, but that was all for the second build. It never showed up. So I hate to do that to a first edition.
Yeah.
But I don't even have any intentions of selling the first edition. So why not? I don't know, you know.
Well, the value, I don't know. I mean, what do you think the value is going to be in 10 years on a first edition versus a tricked out Badlands or Wild Track?
I'm not going to pickle it. I'm going to abuse
Yeah.
it. So mine's not going to be worth anywhere near what somebody's with 100 miles setting on jack stands in a garage is going to be. So if they're looking for a clean one, it might be detailed, but that's going to be the extent of it, you know?
Hey, well, and here's the shiny squirrel stuff. Getting back to bumpers, you know, we're talking about fenders and other components.
Yeah.
So the capable bumper that came on the Eruption Green Badlands, I really like it.
I do too.
So if you're not going to do the winch, you're not going to do the brush bar, the bull bar, and if you're not doing anything that requires that little bit of extra clearance for the tire travel, the capable bumper is fine.
Yeah, I actually kind of think it looks better.
Yeah.
I wish they stuck out factory just a little bit more so it was easier to put lights on the front because I'm running two LP6s, two LP4s, and it's a very difficult install. Bubba from Exodus, those guys are going to fab me a mount for it, but staying out of the proximity stuff, the parking is difficult too because those sensors are right at the top and right there in the way. So I think there's going to be some challenges there. I would like to see what 2023 holds in store for bumpers and options. You know?
Yeah, well, hopefully a little bit more because I think what do we have now? 4. So you have the basic plastic, then you have the plastic with the fog lights, then you have the capable, which is mostly metal. There is a few, you know, plastic inserts in there, and then you have the modular.
Right.
And maybe somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm missing one. Jordan Payne said, "When do I get to drive the Bronco?" So that's a. Can you announce that tonight?
You know, I was just at a birthday party with all these people and they get any of these questions.
Yeah. Well, no, because, you know, it's easier to put you on the spot when the whole world's watching.
Yeah.
They're smart. They're smart.
Anytime you want, Jordan. You just got to watch it when you're done.
Yeah. Nurse AJ, thanks very much. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon and hit all notifications so you'll know when we do live or post a video, which we do have a video about bumpers coming out this week. And so we can do that. Let's see. Overlanding for fun. You can like, okay. Yeah. So no names, but you know, the guy with the 40s on the Bronco that breaks the tie rod ends and racks every other day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's great to see though. You put the tires on there, you find the weak points and you can fix them.
Yep.
If that's the space you're in. For me, hopefully it's a non-issue for me because 37s would be about as big as I would go.
Yeah, I mean that's a neat build. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that guy. I love watching him wheel it and watching him break stuff and innovate. That's not where I want to be in it, honestly. If that's what I was going to do, I would still keep the Jeep. You know, that's not the space that I want to be in either. Plus, I mean, I think you're going to find as you improve the tie rods and you start putting those heavier tie rods, something else is going to break. Right?
You're pushing it back.
You're pushing it into the rack. You're going to break something else. And I am speaking a little out of school because I haven't had this problem yet, but I hate the idea of having known fuses, but it's a lot easier to have a handful of those little metal tie rod ends in your car than it is to have a rack sitting in the back of it that you got to change on the trail. So
yeah,
I think that's where I want mine to break if it's going to break.
Yeah, it's good. Well, you know, you think about Bronco off rodeo, drawing a blank there. So it is a tamer, right? But I mean, you put the Broncos through some of the stuff where you're slipping off the rocks. It's not like you have their factory Broncos, right?
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure that's where you're going to break that piece either. But you get us out on that little, what was the track called? It wasn't the Fun Haver track because it was flooded out, but it was that little GP track that they built that we got to do kind of close to the end of it. That
with the driver?
Yes.
Oh, that's where we were on 2 wheels with ours.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it was going to break, I think it's going to break in something like that when you're going at higher speed and you're taking those corners and stuff. And on 35s, I mean, I think it's engineered for 35s. So I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, that last hard right-hand turn before you went back to where everybody staged by that lake. Yeah, that was where, if you watch one of our videos, it was unintentional, but we grabbed a rut just right and the right front came up and the right side came up.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, first of all, I had a cool driver. I like him. And the Broncos is pretty awesome, and that was my first experience, being able to drive it in those conditions. When you go from driving a streetcar or a truck on the road, pick up F-250 to that, and then back on the plane, back home, and then waiting for your Bronco, it's really a cool experience.
It is. I know there's so many people that buy them and don't take advantage of it. Just like the people who don't go to Raptor Assault when they buy a Raptor. But
right,
man, you're out there in somebody else's vehicle, getting to learn and make mistakes and grow as a wheeler and meet. But the friends and the people you meet, I mean, I still stay in touch with a lot of them. At least through Facebook and Instagram. It's a good time.
Yeah, we met a lot of good people there. They have great food, by the way. It's like, man, I couldn't believe the food was so good.
It was good.
Like, dang, man. And a band, had the guy picking on the guitar. So you're I guess music, right? So he
was a great player. So
yeah.
And I had a great time with that thing. I would do it again. I think I'll get to do it again when the other one comes in. I'm curious to see what they do if I get lucky enough to get a Bronco Raptor, see if they have like an assault type school for it. I'm sure they'll level it up a little.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, we'll see where the Raptor stuff goes. Who's in line to get one? What are they building? How many do you know? 5,000?
Man, I haven't heard an exact number, but what are we at? So what is today? The 6th. So we're like 5 days away from finding out what their intentions are. And I mean, maybe the chip shortage is going to push that out and change it some more. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy with the one I got, and I think I can build it into something that's going to do almost anything I want to do. Would I like to have one for the sake of having a Bronco Raptor? Sure. But if I don't get one, oh well,
Yeah. And speaking of what we're just talking about moving the expense to the bigger parts, Kyle said he'd rather break cheaper accessory parts than more expensive stuff. And I couldn't agree more.
That's a guy. He gets it.
Yeah. But yeah, so anything else you want to cover before we get off this stream here? And by the way, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
No, man, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, I've been, watching your channel, and like I said, when you're Gavin's number one buddy from Townsend, he's like, man, he's a cool guy. We got to have him on the show. I was like, you're absolutely.
I'm glad, man. I had a good time with him. It kind of made me happy to see him out there being so into it and hanging out with you. I got to talk to you a little bit around the campfire and in that line. And so it was cold. It wasn't funny. It was raining. It was cold and it was miserable. And it was one of the best times ever.
Right. You were frozen. Like we went back to the hotel. We were coughing, we were like, good Lord. And it took us all night to warm up. We stayed in Pigeon Forge because we couldn't stay, we couldn't find anywhere. We reserved too late right there.
Yeah.
But so we went and hung out in restaurants. It seemed like all night. We were either at the meeting area there, wherever you call that, not fairgrounds, but or we were in Pigeon Forge in a restaurant. So my wife said you were either in a Bronco riding on the trails or you were eating.
Yeah.
Man, what do you do?
You mentioned Esteban. I met him there, and man, you talk about a cool dude.
Yeah. I
enjoyed talking to him. Talked to Dave for a little bit, the guy that I don't know him very well, but the guy that runs Bronco Nation.
Mm-hmm.
He was real hospitable, but I actually walked from we stayed at the Best Western. So I walked from the hotel with Esteban, and it was nice visiting with him. There's somebody that's so in tune to what was going on at the time, still is. But I mean, to me, it was just like, I'm getting a conversation with the guy,
Yeah, All Terrain Nation said Saturday was awesome. The sun came out at the end, and it did. And I remember thinking to myself, "Good grief, at the end of it, we're gonna have sunshine." But we had one morning where we had frost on the Broncos.
See, we got rained out. I got to ride with Shelby Hall, and it started raining so bad we didn't get to do the trail turn assist there.
Mm-hmm.
We went all the way up to that point, and then we backed back down that rock ledge. But out in Moab with Brad. Man, he hit. We were shagging down through there. Actually, there's a bunch of my video missing because we hit this jump section. My phone came out of my hand, hit the ceiling, hit the floor. I picked it up, thought it was still recording, and it wasn't. And he went. We were doing maybe, I don't know what we were doing, so I'm going to get him in trouble. But we come up to this 90-degree corner between two T-posts, and he goes, "This is where the trail turn assist really works well." And he cranked it, and I was like, because that hood's big, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you spend a lot of time in Jeeps, but if you've been in Jeeps a lot, that hood on that Bronco is wide and big. Yeah. And I was like, oh boy, we're going to see some airbags. And he just threaded that thing like, man, it was just like a ballerina right through there and just pegged it. And I was it. I'm done. I'm hooked. I'm a fanboy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I tell everybody Ford, because I'm a Ford fan. I mean, I like other vehicles as well, but I really like Ford products. And when they're bringing it back, I've always wanted that Jeep style vehicle, but I've just never bought a Jeep. And the Bronco it checked every box for me. And so so I'm going to learn the right way, because I don't want to be I don't want to be out there doing stupid stuff. So we're going to ease into it, and especially, with Gavin. So,
Yeah.
so I'm going to ease into it, but we will eventually get a little aggressive on that.
Well, come out to Lake City with us. Do San Juan's. That's a chill trip. I take a bunch of buddies and gladiators and stuff, and it's camping, it's family. I mean, that's not an event, so I'm not holding an event, but you're welcome any time to come with us. We go out there a couple times a year. And we just go for the views, man. And it's nice to have a capable, comfortable vehicle to be in when you're doing it. But that is right there is about being outdoors with your family, soaking up the scenery and spending time, And
if you wouldn't mind, would you send me a message on that when it is? Because I mean, I'm definitely interested. Like we have this thing, life's for the living, and that sounds like checks that box.
Oh, it's amazing when you see those old mines and some of the old what's left over of those camp towns and stuff up there. It's incredible.
Yeah, I saw that the video that you did, was it Black Bear Pass? Was it was that a movie set or something?
Oh yeah, that was where Lone Ranger was shot.
Ranger, that's what it was.
That's above Creed. I bet I drove past that thing for 10 years and never pulled up in there. And one of the guys with us, that's the beauty of going up with new people all the time and like-minded people. They were like, hey, let's take a right here. I want to show you something. And we went up there and I was like, holy cow, This has been here the whole time. I've been within 15 miles of this thing and never pulled up in here and looked. So there's so much to explore out there.
And that valley, you were right next to this, like, I don't know if it's a valley technically, but it looked like a valley to me. And it was just massive.
It is.
You get lost in it.
San Juan's, though, we'll get you up there. And I say it's easy. It's, family will love it. It's friendly. Just a great place to just cruise around and get to know your vehicle. You'll get switchbacks that are safe to play with the trail turn assist. You'll get places to play with the front locker, rear locker. Just a good place to goof around. So.
And have some fun. Dream Feaster said bonfires and cookouts is great. So
He's been there. He knows.
he knows, been there, done that. And by the way, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and a bell icon. That's where it is. Our channel is growing. We want to keep it growing, and we want to bring some good content. And our content will start to shift a little. I know I keep saying it. But we've had like 3 weeks of bad weather here, which should be Bronco weather. But we haven't been anywhere. So as things start to clean up in our area around March, so another month, it's going to be really fun. And the camping is going to be cool. I've never camped with a roof mounted tent.
I haven't either. So that's
going to be fun for us this year. So we'll see how that works out.
I'm a ground tent guy. I mean, coming from the type of off-roading that I did mostly, it was just throw a tent and a thermarest in the back and hope for the best. But I do want to refine that a little bit.
Isn't there a adding that center of gravity up a little higher, even though it's just a tent, but still you're adding weight. If you're doing really extreme off-roading, that's not really your friend, is it?
I think if you're no, it's not your friend. I think if you're super familiar with your vehicle, it changes the dynamics of it too. That's the thing I've heard. Most people who start out with it up there don't feel as awkward about it as people who have been wheeling their rig and then decide to throw it up there. They're like, man, I know it's only 150 pounds or 200 pounds, but I feel every bit of it.
Yeah. James Jan Henley, Tony, you rock. So I'm assuming you know.
I haven't heard from them forever. These people found me.
Yeah, you rock. Yeah. And Kyle said, driving Broncos and eating good food, sign me up. So Supercell East.
Supercell East, Supercell West.
Yeah, let's see. Sorry, I overlooked some points here. There's something about a Raptor here.
Go ahead, man. Let's see what we got.
Let's see what we got going on here. Let's see. With less than 4,300 Broncos being delivered to Canada for 2021, I think plus I don't think Canada will get a Raptor this year. Yeah, stick with the Badlands. I don't know how that'll work. I mean, I heard somewhere 5,000. I have no idea if that's a good number or not.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
5,000 evaporates very quickly in the United States. And the day we took delivery, this was off Bronco, but we took delivery of the Eruption Green. We were out front it was kind of funny. I went in, they had a big thing set up with some food, and I was like, wow, it's just a Bronco, thanks. They're like, no. We have somebody taking delivery of their Ford GT today. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. How many were delivered that day of those? Like you saw the one?
Right. How many people could see it? So it was I think they called it liquid red or some color like that. It's a red. And they backed it out, and it's pretty cool. Ford has this engineer or one of the car builders that comes with it. So they meet the reliable car carriers there. They set the car up for the driver. They go through it. The dealer. So there was some other reasons why they brought it here. And I think it's here for a little bit and then it's going out to the owner's house. But man, it was cool seeing that thing and hearing it crank up, which is a 3.5, by the way. Eco.
Right. Yeah.
It was like the finest artwork or jewelry on wheels.
I love it.
Just the entire stuff. And it comes with this really cool bag, with all this certain gear in it. But how many times do you experience getting a car and one of the car builders comes with it and helps you set it up?
That's awesome. Man.
Like it's pretty cool. So that was a cool experience. And I don't even know how I started talking about that, but it's just some of that experience.
Some of that limited number of vehicles that we're going to see.
That's what it was. So what always makes me, I make my wife watch Barrett Jackson because in 2006, I had a chance to get a Ford GT at MSRP. Now it was an 07, of course, but this was when they started ordering them and the dealer called and said, hey, do you want one? Not everyone was buying Ford GTs in 06.
Right.
It was a new car. It was coming out. It was very expensive. We could have, they're selling for $400,000 more than I could have bought it for.
And that's
at the time. And so she watches it and she says, oh, not another auction, because I said, I just don't want us to make this thing. And she's watching this right now. I'm waiting for the comment.
Yeah. She's going to be commenting.
Yeah. So, and Kevin GR said Ford's the best car made in Canada. What's Ford? Okay. Here's the thing. What is Ford doing to fix the steering rack on the Broncos? I don't know that there's an issue with 35s or 37s. I think maybe it's that extreme off-roading. Tony, I don't know if maybe you know more on that.
Man, and this is all hearsay from what I read, but I still think it comes back to that point when people are replacing that piece that breaks with the bigger billet arms that they're putting out there and the Heim joints. I think they're shoving that force inside that box, that steering box, where it doesn't know what to do with it. Right. And even on the Bronco Raptor, the engineer was saying that it was basically the same internals, but a strength case, something that had more ribbing and more structure to it. So I'm kind of curious what that was about because I haven't seen one broke. I haven't seen a video yet that showed the picture of it out of the vehicle broke yet.
Right.
And if that was in the video with the 40s, I missed that part. But I know they're replacing the whole steering tie rod in, and I think that's unforgiving, right? That's shoving. That's not bending. That's going straight into the rack. So that to me is it. I think we can modify these things to the point where we actually aren't better,
Yeah. All Terrain Nation is saying the tie rod ends are made to break. And I agree. If you want something to give, something like that, like you were saying, is easier. I
like that guy.
Yeah. Easier to change, on the trail. Yeah. For an extra 100,000, you can get a dedicated color on your GT that no one else can have. Overlanding for fun. Thanks for that. Maybe they'll offer down some Bronco in the future. What's your thoughts on the Everglades with the snorkel?
Oh, that's not my jam. I think it's interesting, but that's not something that I would ever buy. I'm not into the expedition type rigs.
Got it.
So I still like that. Mine's gonna, like I say, have the ADV fenders and gonna open the wheel wells up a little bit and be more of that Baja type feel. Go fast stuff, I hope, or go faster stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and All Terrain also said that some of the Jeep people move into Bronco, they don't understand the IFS, and I would agree to that. You've had one type of suspension in the front for years, and now this is a new vehicle. You are right about the driving, the comfort of it, but yeah, the Everglades is the snorkel going on the other side. You're right; it's got to be your deal. I think it's cool. I think one of the reasons I liked it was called the eruption green. When you see it, it was eruption green. Of course, they're going to offer other colors. I tell you, there's one thing that I may, and it's no secret, everybody's seen it before, but if I do something radical to the Eruption Green Badlands, it would be an off-white painted top with the grill and matching wheels.
Yep.
I think, the red Bronco letters. I think that would be the most extreme thing that I would do to the exterior.
That would be your extreme makeover.
That would be my extreme makeover, which, by the way, that was
former life,
former life. Couple of them in there, yeah.
Well, I think this is something important to think about too. If you think about the guys that have the 4Runners, and maybe not so much the Tacoma guys because they want the bed of their truck for a specific reason, but you think about the 4Runner guys that buy a very capable 4Runner, but how much money do you have to spend on a 4Runner to get it on 35s, to get it to work on 35s? How much cutting do you have to do? Right. I mean, I think this is everybody wants to compare it to the Jeep. And I think that's mostly, Ford did that because where they took it, right? They took it to Jeep Safari, they took it to King of Hammers. They did that, but, and the top pops off. So the general public's like, hey, this is a replacement to the Jeep. And for a lot of people it is, but man, I think that thing is a slam dunk for people who want to get more radical, let me say, in a 4Runner world. Now, Toyota reliability, how do you argue with that, right? I don't know where you would rate Ford versus Toyota in reliability. I've had 3 Tacomas, I've had 2 Tundras, I've had TRD Pro, and then we've had 3 4Runners. So we are definitely Toyota fans, but I just look at this Badlands and I'm like, how do you choose?
Right. It's got everything you want, right?
Right. I get how you choose. I get where you'd go with the Tacoma. I get where you go with the Tundra over a Bronco for sure. Those are just different beasts, but the 4Runner, I'm just sitting there going, man, if you're going to mod it, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that, and of course we're early in the aftermarket with the Bronco. So, who knows what it's going to look like in 2 or 3 years, and I think that the reliability of the first year, I think so far it's great. We talked about engines earlier. I was going to mention this earlier. I'm on the LSPI island, meaning low speed pre-ignition island. There's a few people there that thinks that the engine issues weren't valves. Maybe it's just a horrible coincidence in the engine happening. Getting to that, what octane fuel are you running?
91.
Okay. Is that the highest where you are?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think, what's your elevation there in Oklahoma?
1,200. I think we're at 1,200 feet.
Okay. So obviously that's not a lot, but we're at 93 here. And in different parts of the country, you have different fuel. Yeah, I think the higher octane is definitely your friend. And what do you feel about oil changes? What do you think you're going to do your intervals? 5. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of 10,000, but that's just me. All right. Yeah. Well, Tony, I tell you, unless you have something you want to go over, I'm not rushing you out of here. I don't want to keep you too much longer.
I had a great time. Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate the comments from everybody outside of my family too. So
yeah. We had a lot of people join tonight, and I do appreciate it. And if you haven't, hit that subscription button, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, and maybe like the live stream. What that does is that helps YouTube push it out to other people. And hey, so maybe when we have an event coming up, would you mind coming back on? We can talk about it.
Oh, heck yeah. That'd be a blast. And maybe we can do one live sometime from either East or West,
That would be great. A challenge at East, and maybe it's going to be worked out service there.
Yeah.
I was trying to live stream. Did you have an issue with that?
I just gave up.
we walked around like, one hand up in the air. We had a piece of tinfoil over here.
Yeah. We looked like we were waiting on an invasion from aliens.
Yeah. So Gavin said, well, maybe if we wrap our beanies, our hats there in tinfoil, we'll get a better signal. I was like, no, we'd probably get the one lightning strike on the planet that day.
But we'll have to have Elon bring us out something to help us out.
We did look into that. And you probably know more about this than I do. They're set up in regions.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, so you couldn't buy it here and take it there. So,
not supposed to.
Not exactly. Not supposed to, I should say. I don't really know I just thought it was more of a function thing, whether it wouldn't work. But
I jumped like on board. I was like, oh man, I got to get one of these. And then I started like, oh, I can't take this off-roading with me. I can't take it off-roading with me.
Wouldn't that be the perfect solution though? Something like that?
Absolutely. There's got to be a reason why Starlink, won't do that, but whatever.
Right. Well, let's plan on doing something like that. It'd be great. Now we'll keep in touch wherever we're going. And hey, everyone, thank you for joining. Thanks for the comments. And if I didn't get to your question, I'm sorry. We were trying to get the conversation going, but hey, Tony, I do appreciate it. And belated happy birthday to your daughter.
Yep, right back at you, sir.
And what is today? Yesterday?
We celebrated today. It's the 9th. The actual.
Oh,
day is the
okay,
9th.
got it.
Yep.
Well, my daughter's was yesterday, so I got a little confused. Well, anyway, happy birthday there, and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, see you later.
See ya.
Bye.